1-800-449-8255. And you, my friend, have stumbled upon the fabulous Clark the Shark Show. Right now, it's kind of a depressing Clark the Shark Show because since the night of May 25th, I have been living in hotels, motels, the Ramada Travelodge Motel 6. I can't say it's been sad. I'm actually happy to be away from that place I was at. But the money, is being gobbled up. And I'm one of those guys that fell into a crypto thing about, year and a half ago. I'm not going to say the name of the crypto scheme, but it's got 100,000 of my dollars in it now. And they keep going up every 3 months. And, look, Sharky, you earned another 5,000 or 6,000 that you can't touch. Well, hopefully someday I'll be able to touch my money that I got originally from having skin cancer and a bad right knee via an attorney in Los Angeles or Orange County or wherever. But I, Clark the Shark, here on June 18th. Man, I've been out of that place for a long time, and me and the wife have been in hotels, and I can't say anyone cares or doesn't care. I mean, me, Clark the Shark, I'm kind of a guy that speaks my mind, so I don't have too many people that want to call and say hello. Actually, virtually none. The few people who dare to venture to talk to a Sharky are either really, really smart or really, really dumb, and they don't care or something, or, they're just like, shut up, Sharky, or you're great, Sharky, or, but the common foot soldier out there, for whatever reason, he and she don't really converse or talk to Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255 on the fabulous Clark the Shark Show. But thank God I have all of you, all 200 of you or so, who, every time I get 15,000 or 20,000 YouTube views, I log in a day and a half or 3 days later, and it says 150 views, and then it says 72, and then it says 38. It just goes backwards, sort of like our voting that is run by big tech. The Democrat votes go up and the Republican ones disappear and or go backwards. It's come to that. Or maybe they're just really now is a lot of socialist Democrat people who vote left. I don't know. When I turn on cable TV and look at Bravo and CNN and even Fox, it's a world gone mad where, people aren't really judgmental. They're just kind of vanilla milquetoast people on the right, and now too on the left. It's weird. These highly educated people in suits, or, I don't know how they would handle a Clark the Shark today if I were to come out from under my armor and be Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255. But lo and behold, alas, I'm 58 years old now, and what's the point? And it's kind of like, what's the point talking about Derek and the Dominoes, this album from 1970. I loved Cream. Those albums were awesome. But as they went along, Eric Clapton began to voice his displeasure at the band, and things hit loggerheads at the album Wheels of Fire, where Clapton began to say, I don't like this direction. And then Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker would be like, well, we're going to insert your blazing solos into our little acoustic songs. And Clapton was like, no, I don't like the acoustic direction. Let's do rock and roll. And, it was weird because Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker were on one page, and they wanted to do experimental music while Eric Clapton wanted to do straight ahead blues, rock and roll. And, unfortunately, that band just dissolved and everyone went different directions. And then the band Blind Faith happened with Steve Winwood, and somehow Ginger Baker got mixed up in the midst of that. I'm pretty sure Eric Clapton was never comfortable with Ginger Baker showing up in a hot rod, one day in front of Winwood's house or studio or Clapton's or whatever. But, eventually Ginger Baker drifted off to the Air Force. But then Clapton drifted away to this, Derek and the Dominoes, which so many people think is such a great album. And me, Clark the Shark, I admit, this album has really great songs sort of intermingled with really shitty, mediocre ones. In the end, I give this album a good ranking or whatever, because it is what it is. I love a lot of these songs, but I hate a lot of these. And many of these tunes are the prototype, the early auditions, if you will, for why you hate Eric Clapton later on, in subsequent albums after this one. And then it kind of hits you that this is like the only good Eric Clapton album. And all the other ones after this really suck. I mean, they're completely fucking shit. There's good songs here and there, but Eric Clapton invented kind of like this trademark signature sound that killed the 1970s. I mean, Harry Nilsson kind of did that too, with that adult contemporary crap that he sort of invented. But in some weird way, what Nilsson did, where he went wrong, comes out good or something, because it's got this deadpan humor, kind of like Randy Newman, or, I don't know, sort of like Margaritaville, that guy, or the Parrot Heads guy, just a funny thing, but there's nothing funny about Eric Clapton. This guy has no humor. Sometimes he tries to, but it just falls flat. And so he relies heavy on his songs, his little FM rock and roll radio shit. And often it's just garbage, you guys. After this one album, I swear to God, dude, Clapton fucking sucks or something. He never gets it put all back together again like Cream ever again, until he plays again with Cream in like 2005 or whatever, whenever that was. Thank God that happened. Because Clapton's career is just fucking garbage. I hate it. And I admit there are some good songs here and there that pop up. There's even some catchy songwriting little ideas, that are kind of like Pete Townsend or something, but no. But this album, Derek and the Dominoes, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, which, seems to be an album about Patty Boyd or other girls that Clapton was boning, or the politics between him and George Harrison and the fight for Patty Boyd, or his broken heart, or maybe even George Harrison's broken heart. Or it's just, weird. And how these guys patched it up after this is a crazy miracle. Because had I been George Harrison, I would fucking never have talked to Eric Clapton again. right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255, I'd be like, fuck that guy. He stole my chick, or, my chick drifted away from me and went to him, or I don't even care, dude. Me, Clark the Shark, you don't steal from me. You end up like dead in a greenhouse with a shotgun across your chest, or, where it's clearly a murder. And Clark the Shark did it. At 1-800-449-8255. That's right. If you steal from Clark the Shark or betray me in any way, you might end up dead in a greenhouse in Seattle. Or even if you don't steal from me and I think that you did, or if you're a journalist and you love the guy that stole from me, or who I perceived with perception of a person who I think may have in any way stolen, even slightly, from Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255. Bad things will happen to you. You may end up in a swimming pool truck crashed into a pole in Oceanside, California, with your chemicals all over the ground next to you. And you didn't even die from the wreck. You died because you inhaled all those chemicals, which was a nauseous mixture of chlorine and muriatic acid, at 1-800-449-8255, and maybe DE too. But enough of Clark the Shark and his quest for vengeance or justice. I'm like that, the cover of Judas Priest, screaming for vengeance, that bird, that's Clark the Shark. But right now, I'm not talking about justice or vengeance. I'm talking about Layla and Patty Boyd. What a beautiful girl she was with George Harrison back in '64. And why George didn't have a couple of babies or 3 babies with Patty Boyd. And, the Beatles were great musicians, but their home lives, these guys were terrible human beings. John was mean to Cynthia. Ringo was mean to Maureen Cox. And supposedly George was like a real meanie or something to Patty Boyd. And he made her drift away and go to Clapton. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just a wuss and he couldn't handle a hot, beautiful lady like Patty Boyd. And then Clapton scooped up, the loose change. I don't know, here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255, from the fabulous golden EIB Sharker phone, baby. I'm 58 years old and I still got it. And, it ain't going anywhere, people. And it'll last forever with a legacy, much like this album. Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and other assorted love songs. And me, Clark the Shark, I could write this about Cindy or Tanya or the girl at KLM in 1988 near Radix, or Desiree or Jackie or whoever, Kim. Oh, dude, Kim, this girl at Newton School named Kim. I won't say her last name, but she was so beautiful. And then she went punk rock and she desecrated herself with all this punk rock makeup and stuff. And it was so sad because she was such a beautiful, pretty girl at Newton School in Torrance. And then at South High, she became just this ugly punk rock princess. And me, Clark the Shark, I know more about punk, Miss Kim, than you ever will. So if anyone should desecrate himself over punk rock, it should probably be Clark the Shark. And I never did that. I don't have one tattoo on my body. I never wore a mohawk. I think I had a shaved head in like 1986 as a joke just once. I almost joined like the Marine Corps or something. I don't know, but I'm not talking about punk rock or the U.S. Army or Be All You Can Be. I'm talking about Eric Clapton and Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and other assorted love songs. And this album, which so many people think this is so great and it's going to get 5 stars, you guys, but it doesn't deserve them. Look at the long ass write up. Oh, yeah, 4 stars, 5 stars. Everyone wants to suck Clapton's cock for this album. And it is a good album, but it starts off with I Looked Away, which to me is just boring. It's all right. I got to admit, these songs were breaking some kind of new ground or something, or maybe not, but Bell Bottom Blues is fucking killer, you guys, no doubt. One of the best Clapton songs. But then Keep On Growing kind of goes back to, I Looked Away, like one of those boring songs by Clapton where you're just like, and nobody knows you when you're down and out. I mean, that's me, Clark the Shark. Right now, I'm homeless and living at Motel 6 or, the Travel Lodge. Or I'm actually having a lot of fun, in the motel. It's the funnest time of my life, and I feel like I'm on the road with a rock and roll band or something. But there's also a depression and a misery about it, but don't worry, you guys. I am yours. Me, Clark the Shark, right here from the golden EIB fabulous sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's a sharkerphone because I am yours. Just another boring Clapton song. It's all right, I like Any Day, of course. Good song. And Key to the Highway, it wasn't written by Clapton, but I like it. By the way, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. God, it's kind of a song I hate. Clapton made that famous in his solo days, blathering it live or whatever. It's on that fucking crappy acoustic shit that I hate. Tell the truth, dude. Tell the truth. I gotta admit, I like it, but probably my favorite song on the whole album, Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad? And me, Clark the Shark, I ask that a lot, That song almost upgrades this whole album. And I'm like, yeah, why does love gotta be so sad? I really loved the girl Tanya. I love the girl Cindy. But I always end up walking away one night, having a beer all by myself, watching an LA Kings game, all alone at a bar. And I'm like, why does love got to be so sad? And I almost feel that bluesy, lame, boring, Eric Clapton, rock and roll, like straightforward driving blues. It's not really garage or it's not really cool music, from 1966 or 1967. It's like Clapton's inventing this blathering crap that's nowhere as good as the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed or, Beggar's Banquet or Sticky Fingers. I mean, it's not even in a class like that. Most of these Clapton songs just suck, but I love Why Does Love Gotta Be So Bad? Oh, I'm so sad, but it's actually bad. At 1-800-449-8255. Have you ever loved a woman? I love that song too, you guys. I got to admit it. Me, Clark the Shark, I started thinking about ladies, women, having a beer. Little Wing, the Hendrix, thing is good. Come on. It's Too Late is fucking killer. I love it. And of course, Layla. Title track, you guys, is just amazing. I have to admit, it's fucking awesome. The final song on this, just fucking throwaway, but it's all right. Tom Tree in the Garden. Not written by Clapton, It's weird how I like the songs that aren't written by Clapton. Oh, it's got a lot of B-sides and bonus tracks later. The songs remixed to 40th anniversary. Oh, you got to get the 40th anniversary so you can suck Clapton's cock. But I love this band, you guys. Derek and the Dominoes. Bobby Whitlock, dude. Fuck. Awesome. And of course, all these guys are legends. Dwayne Allman, who died tragically, man. Fuck, that's sad. Jim Gordon, who later played with Harry Nilsson on Nilsson Schmilsson. And then I think Jim Gordon might have killed himself or something, or killed some people. Dude, he was out for vengeance or justice, kind of like Clark the Shark. And maybe he just went insane or crazy, or maybe he left someone lying in a greenhouse with a shotgun laying across their body, looking like a suicide, but it wasn't. It was I, Clark the Shark, who went there and did the deed, you guys, at 1-800-449-8255. But that's how justice works in America, you guys. That's how it is at 1-800-449-8255. If you steal riffs, if you steal hooks, if you steal tangents, if you steal ideas, if you steal little figurative runs or progressions or whatever, But, in some weird way, Clapton is original here, and in a really bad way. He doesn't really steal. I'm sure Jack Bruce is somewhere saying, he stole the album from me and Ginger. But believe me, you guys, you don't want this piece of shit album on your resume. I know you guys are both dead and in heaven, but Clapton, when he dies, I hope there's a bad, horrible place in hell for him, just for how boring he was and is, and how much damage he did to rock and roll with his solo career, not this album. This album is interesting, you guys. It's either very, very good or very, very bad. It's either very, very mediocre or very, very awesome at the same time. And in some weird way, this album perfectly sums up Eric Clapton. He never again did another album this good, you guys. Sorry to say. And if you talk to anyone about Eric Clapton, they'll say the same thing. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show from the golden EIB Sharkerphone. Once again, I don't speak into a microphone, you guys. I speak into a golden EIB Sharkerphone right here on the Excellence in Sharky Broadcasting Network, where I just gave you the only review of Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and other assorted love songs that you will ever need. And let's be honest and be frank here, people, that you will ever want. You don't need another review of this bluesy, lame, boring pile of shit album that I got to give an 8 out of 10 because it's inventive, it's creative. This boring rock and roll garbage man who needs a cup of coffee or something. I mean, I got to get rid of Eric Clapton, you guys, by listening to Cream or something, anything but this album or the Yardbirds. Oh, God, I hate Eric Clapton's solo, but I got to admit, this album was cutting edge breakthrough shit here, you guys, with interesting songs, really boring songs too. Kind of like if the Grateful Dead were really lame and really boring. But better than that, you guys, an upgrade, if you will, from that and other things. Do I prefer the Steve Miller Band to this? Yes. Do I prefer, lots of shit, dude. The Rolling Stones, fuck yeah. I can listen to Let It Bleed over this. I can listen to Exile on Main Street over this. I can listen to The Who. Quadrophenia just destroys this, you guys. The Who, Who's Next, even The Who, Tommy, just rakes this over the barbecue, you guys. But there is something to this album. Derek and the Dominoes, 1970, ahead of its time in a bad, awful way, because it's inventing the 1970s the way you hate it. And it's inventing AOR, album-oriented FM crappy rock that would end up on KLOS and Jim Ladd at CAM-ET and all that fucking lame, crappy, boring shit to come in a bad way that almost has no equal for mediocrity and fucking lame piece of shitism. This album Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. But there's something to be said, you guys. I want you to buy this album. I want you to listen to it because this is a million times better than today's music, you guys. And I hate to say that, but I'll take this over any garbage from now. I'm Clark the Shark, and you just got the testimony, the word, the gospel, the only review of Layla and other assorted love songs, 1970. Eric Clapton, Derek and the Dominoes, whatever you want to call it, this bluesy, guitar-driven, drum-driven, melodic, melody-driven pile of shit. Garbage. Horrible album, but I like it. Bell Bottom Blues, fuck yeah, dude. I'm not going to knock that song. I'm not going to knock Layla. And why does love got to be so hard, dude? Why does it got to be so sad? Why does it got to be so bad? Me, Clark the Shark, I ask that. Thank God I met Valita, my wife, who I love so much, you guys. Go out there and find a woman, whoever you are, you know. You can do it. And if you're an ugly, short guy, hey, man, you can be like Clark the Shark. I found a beautiful woman, as beautiful as Patty Boyd, who I married. They're not the end-all, end-all. They won't make you feel great or happy all the time, or proud, or look in the mirror and take a deep breath, and life's just so great. That's not what women are for, you guys. But sometimes I look at Patty Boyd and I say, what a marvelous, beautiful princess she was. And George Harrison, you idiot, dude, you blew it. You could have had Patty Boyd, been nice to her and loved her, but you lost her, and Eric Clapton took her. And Eric Clapton, you're an idiot too, because you lost Patty Boyd. And Patty Boyd, wherever you are, forever, you're a beautiful princess. You deserved better than Clapton or George Harrison. Who knows, maybe in another life, you might marry me, Clark the Shark, right here at 1-800-449-8255. Nah, I'm going to stay with Valita, my wife. But just look at Patty Boyd. What a beauty. What an album, you guys. Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, 1970, by the bloated arena rock of Eric Clapton. And I'm out of here, people. Peace.